Adult problem. There are more than 10 million drinkers between the ages of 12 and 20, and in the new book, From Binge to Blackout, you'll find a terrifying true story of how a young teen's drinking snowballed into a nightmare of alcohol abuse and a mother who had no idea what was going on right under her nose. Please welcome Chris and Torin Balkman. Welcome, both of you. Thank you. The story that you tell is quite important. Chris, Torin, you're 26 years old.
That's correct.
And for 3 years, you've been a recovering alcoholic. Now, what age did you start drinking, and how much were you drinking at that time?
Well, I started out as a curious teenager, about 14 with my first drinks, but it quickly escalated throughout high school, and it was never really about quantity. It was more about the effect produced by alcohol. So it varied, and in the end, I started drinking more and more, and by the end, through college, I could handle quite a bit of alcohol. And
like
still,
about how many drinks? Like more than 5
through
drinks?
college, yeah, definitely 6 to 10, maybe a 40 here and there, a couple shots.
But that was a young starting age, too.
Starting, even 4 or 5 beers would be enough at the start.
Gosh.
So, Chris, the title of this book is From Binge to Blackout. Explain to us how binge drinking is different than regular drinking.
Binge drinking is a lot different than regular drinking, and it's really controversial. The definition is 4 drinks for females, 5 for males, on one occasion, repeated once or twice in a 2-week period. However, experts are saying nowadays that you need to make sure that to differentiate between males and females, body type, size, and actually it could be called chronic heavy drinking.
Drinking to get drunk.
Drinking to get drunk. Voila.
What triggers it off, the binging, do you think?
I think it just is to have fun. Is that what you'd say? Ask Torin.
I binge drink, or I did, just to have a good time, to take risks, to go out and do something, to meet new people.
But not everybody gets into binge drinking, so there must have been some other reason.
By the way, it's the biggest, alcohol is the biggest abuse. We keep hearing about
Right.
drugs. It's the biggest abuse for young people.
Sure,
The number
it's
one drug
available.
of choice.
Is there a difference between blacking out and passing out?
Definitely, and sometimes they happen one after the other, but passing out is just someone that's unconscious. Blacking out is where somebody loses chunks of an evening or maybe an entire evening, and I experienced many of both.
So you forget. You
The
forget what happened.
big question when you read this book and the people are watching is that yours was not a dysfunctional family. You have 3 kids, you had a good marriage. You have this son who was drinking, and he came home drunk several times. I made some notes. He got kicked off the sports team. He was kicked out of his dorm. He had problems with the police. How could you not know?
That's what I kept asking myself, and that's why we wrote the book. How could I have not known? The thing is, a lot of times kids are deceptive as adolescents because they want to try new things. They want to experience the world, so they hide it from their parents, and sometimes the parents are the
You
last
couldn't
to
tell
find
when
out.
he was drunk?
A lot of times he sobered up before he came home, and we only managed to catch him in high school maybe 4 or 5 times. Plus he was getting good grades. So there's a lot of things that parents need to really look at, and that's what we tried to cover in our
And
book.
what do they need to look at most?
I think they need to really start communicating very early and talk to their kids about 2 main things. The adolescent brain and how fragile it is. It's a lot different than the adult brain. Genetics in the family. And then third, to remember that parents are the most respected entity for children, and they listen to parents even though they don't act like it. So we have a lot of clout there.
Torin, I know there were a lot of side effects that you faced, too, but what was, at your lowest point, what was that like, and what made you decide to turn it around?
Well, the side effects were definitely a progression, and in the beginning it wasn't, maybe it was the fact that I was getting kicked off teams, but what ended up really taking me down was the fact that it turned into withdrawal, and blackouts, fevers, shakes, sleeplessness. All these things got worse and worse over time to the point where I was, every time I started drinking, that's where I ended up.
Were you doing any other drugs, though, besides alcohol?
I dabbled throughout the years, but alcohol is the most convenient, cheap, sociable thing.
What did you dabble in?
Pretty much everything, you name it.
Were your friends doing the same thing? Was it easy to do this? Or were you, when you say you kind of became like a recluse, were you just alone doing this?
Any good drunk will surround themselves with people that can party like rock stars.
So now have you dropped those friends too? Do you hang out with them still?
I see all my friends still. It depends. I need to keep it safe, but
Are you afraid you'll have a relapse? It's been 3 years.
It's always a consideration, but I don't want to go back to the way it was. Like, my life now without alcohol is so much better than the way it was when I was enslaved and, my life was taken over.
So you can't touch a drink. You're like what AA says, that's it, nothing, right?
It's dangerous for you.
I tried all that. I tried to control my drinking. It will never happen.
What about
so
the
you
rest?
still drink a little bit?
No. I've been sober for almost 3 years.
That's
So you know that one, you can't even go near the one, and your friends support you in that too.
They're really cool about it, and I have a lot of friends that are sober now too.
Chris, I want to ask about the rest of the family because you mentioned possibility of alcoholism. You've got 2 other sons.
Yes.
Does anybody else in your family drink, and how do you handle it?
Every other person in our family drinks, and we really had a fast education with Torrin. Now we talk about it more, and we realize that it's a progressive disease, and anyone can have problems with it down the road.
But
So
your other 2 sons drink?
they do drink, yes.
Do you think
Well,
it's genetic?
and wait, and so do you mind? Do you?
No, I think it's important for them to discuss it with Torrin. We all work together on
We're going to
it.
make them read the book.
Yeah, they should read the book, and so should
August
a
1st
bunch
when
of
it
other
comes out.
folks.
Yeah,
Honestly,
you should read
this is a good one to get. I think that the drinking age has started to be younger and younger, and you're doing a great service for
Average
everyone by
age
writing it.
13 for
Yes.
the first drink.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's an important thing, and I know you're traveling to middle schools, reaching middle schools to moms, so thank you for sharing your story
Thank you.
today. Our thanks to Chris and Torrin Volkman. Everyone in our audience is getting a copy of their book, From Binge to Blackout. We will be right back.